Hey everyone, happy Monday. Brad here with Pause and Effect. And let me make sure my correct microphone is on here. Yep, that should be good. All right, so we are going to do another speed test. So we've moved from Amana, Iowa. We had a great week up there, and now we're in Union, Missouri. We're actually in the city limits of Union, Missouri. So we're not out in the sticks or anywhere like that. We're in Franklin County, Union, Missouri. We're in the city limits, and we're going to do some more speed tests, some live speed tests. So as always, we've got our Netgear Nighthawk on AT&T. Our provider is OTR Mobile, but the actual service is on AT&T Network, Netgear router. This one is about $80 a month. It is their Blue Blast plan for OTR Mobile. You can't get that plan anymore, unfortunately. But we were grandfathered in. But we'll still tell you kind of what AT&T's network is in this area, and we'll do the test on that. That one is $80 a month, as I said. It's fully unlimited, no throttling that we've had so far, and we've been using 300, 400 megs a month with no throttling. Hey, Kyle and Ryan, how you guys doing? KNR Destinations. We're just doing some quick speed tests here. We're going to do them on AT&T. We're going to do it on Verizon. This is Verizon MiFi Jetpack 2, I think is what it is. This one is unlimited up to 15 gigs. It's directly from Verizon. It's also about $80 a month, but it does throttle after 15 gigs. It's still decent service, but pretty much not unlimited high speed. So it's throttled back a little bit, but not so far that you can't use it. All right, so last one is T-Mobile. T-Mobile is this little guy right here. Even though it says AT&T on there, it is T-Mobile is the provider. If you can see up in the top little corner here, there it says T-Mobile. There we go. Perfect. All right, so this is through OTR Mobile as well, and it's also $80 a month. This is their Pink Blast plan. So we're going to test all of those out right now. I'm actually connected to, let's see here, AT&T. So we're going to start with the AT&T network. And let me share my screen here, and we will do some tests on this puppy. Hope everybody's having a happy Monday. I'm going to get the screen share going on here. All right, so there we go, speed test. We use Speakeasy speed test. We're going to run that against this AT&T Nighthawk modem. We're going to go ahead and click Start Test here and see what kind of results we are getting. Wow. AT&T is solid in Union, Missouri. So 75 megs or so download speed. We're not using any type of boost. This is a raw signal with this modem, and about 16 uploads. So that's in very good shape there. Once this test is run, I'll probably disappear here for about 30 to 60 seconds as I switch over to the Verizon network to test out Verizon. So we got 73.7 download, 17.2 megs upload. You could stream and do conference calls at that speed all day long. So I'm going to go ahead and switch networks here. There we go. Let's see. And are you all wearing pants? Aaron's not here. We left Aaron earlier today, Papa Drew. Thanks for coming in. We had a great time up there in Amana, Iowa, but we're back in Union, Missouri right now, and I have pants. I even have a belt on so they don't fall down. You might be aware. So I'll let you think on that for 30 or 60 seconds as I switch over to my Verizon network. All right, I should be back now. Let me get rid of a couple of these screens here that are up that were dead bodies. When you switch networks, StreamYard has some difficulty with that, so I basically have to come back in again and restart the test. So let me go ahead and share my screen again, and we will get going on the Verizon network for the Verizon testing. Hello, Sue. How are you? Good to see you. Got Papa Drew's here. We got Lucky Dog Sue, Kyle, and Ryan from K&R Destinations. Thanks for coming in, guys, and checking out the speed test. So let's give this next speed test a go. And again, this is on the Verizon network with no boosting here in Union, Missouri. The MiFi Jetpack 2, pretty solid. Not quite as good as AT&T. 40 megs download. And we'll see what kind of upload speeds they got. Not too super great on the upload, but you should still be able to get by. I'm going to be working here for one day tomorrow, so I will most likely use the AT&T network based on this. But we still have to test T-Mobile. So once again, we're going to switch over to T-Mobile. I'll be gone again and for about 30 or 60 seconds. We'll come back and run that test. Let me switch networks real quick. Okay, we should be back. Now we're on the T-Mobile network over OTR Mobile. Give the screen share one more time here. And again, this is the OTR Mobile. It is the T-Mobile network on OTR Mobile with no booster. So we're going to give this one a try. See what kind of speeds we get on it. T-Mobile's pretty solid here. So in previous tests, T-Mobile was coming up not quite sufficient, if you will, on most of the tests we've done so far. But they are actually coming up about the same as Verizon here in Union, Missouri. So that's pretty good if they can compete with Verizon here in Union, Missouri. All right, there you have it. All three networks, all three fairly decent here in Union, Missouri. So if you're looking to work while you're on the road, you should be able to get by with all three. But AT&T is by far the best, about twice as good as the other. Papa Drew says he's waiting for the new 5G. They had some relatives test positive for COVID. Yeah, okay. So that wraps up the speed test, but I'll stick around, guys, if you want to chat about anything. I will tell you that some of my relatives also tested positive for COVID. So one of my cousins, her boyfriend, and her child, I think all tested positive for COVID just a couple days ago. So we're keeping an eye on that. I mean, some of the new articles that I've seen lately from the CDC are encouraging, but I wouldn't take any chances. If I was in a high risk group, I definitely wouldn't take any chances of getting out in the midst of all the mess. We've been traveling around quite a bit, but we try to keep our distance, social distance. We wear masks whenever the places require it. If we're going around people that are wearing masks, we wear masks. Definitely prayers for everyone affected, not only by this, but in a lot of the areas that aren't getting attention. So I don't know if you guys have paid attention, but the suicide rate is way up. Unemployment rate obviously is way up because of this. People are losing their businesses. So I think this is affecting exponentially more people that aren't actually affected directly by the virus itself. So it's definitely been an impact on not only the United States, but the entire world. And at the same time, you've got all this election madness and the rioting and killing people just for whatever party they support, which is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I'm in the mindset that in most of these cases, both sides are wrong in a lot of cases. I know that last one with the kid that had a rifle in the city and he was protecting people's businesses and he shot some protesters in self-defense. I agree that he did it in self-defense, but I also can see this. Anybody that goes into an area like that who doesn't own the business that has a rifle, for me, man, you're asking for trouble, just like the protesters are asking for trouble. So it's just violence, and I think both sides of that were violent, and it's very unfortunate. That kid might go to jail for the rest of his life, or he might go to jail for, even a good part of his life, or he may get off. I don't know what's going to happen, because I think he's got a good argument on self-defense, and they can't really say, well, he brought a gun, because there was plenty of protesters with guns as well. So to me, it's just the insanity and hate and violence has to stop. I will tell you that almost everyone I know, very few people I know, are hateful people to anyone. They're loving to all races. And most of the people I know that are hateful are just mean-spirited people, regardless of what race they are. And I think mean-spirited people are the people that are behind a lot of this violence, regardless what race, gender, whatever. You're either a good person and you're not mean and not hateful and not violent, or you're hateful and violent and judgmental, and you just make up your own laws and break them as you go. And that I see it simple as that. And that's all I got to say about that in Forrest Gump language there. So we'll keep praying that things get better, but all we can do is do our part and smile at people that we see, help people that we see, avoid dangerous areas as much as possible, unless we feel like we can really benefit those areas. And right now, I saw actually a video where I applaud the guy. It was a picture or a video of a man that was holding a sign that said, it might have just said Jesus, or it said Jesus is what you need, or something like that. It was a black guy, and he was in the midst of the protest, just walking, holding the sign. And evidently he was getting oil poured on him, fireworks shot at him, frozen water bottles thrown at him. But he felt he needed to be there. And so I really hope people that do that are protected, because that's a very brave and courageous thing to do, to just try to bring peace. Yeah, I'm gonna say this one right. I'm gonna pull this one up here, because I really don't want to get political on online. But I think this is a good point. These people and the media are pulling our strings like puppets, and the people that play into it and watch it all day long, and they think that a president on one side or the other, or a party on one side or the other, has caused all our problems. To me, that's ignorance, in my opinion. No offense to anybody, but if you look in the history of the United States, it's almost divided almost exactly the number of years that a Democratic president's been there and that a Republican president's been there. And I will say a couple of things have been different. I think the economy and some of the jobs coming back to America in the last 4 years was something that I hadn't seen for a while, and I think that was some positives. The economy was getting stronger already, so I'm not saying Trump come in and change that completely, but I did see that the economy was getting better, unemployment was going down, and that a lot of these jobs were coming back to America, which was a good thing. I also was very hopeful when Obama did get elected that racial relations would continue to move forward, because I feel like from the time I was a kid to the time of 10 years ago, it was constant improvement, not as much probably as what we need. But I also think there was some very wrong things done by the government. Whenever you try to favor different groups to make it equal, I don't think that'll ever work. I think you can't favor. The only way you can have true closest thing we can have towards equality is at a government level, at a leadership level. Everybody has to be completely unbiased. So you can't have favoritism anywhere to try to correct that, because that just won't work, in my opinion. And unfortunately, during the Obama era there, I felt like the anti-police and the the racial tensions and the race card issues started being come up from leadership more, unfortunately, and it's gotten worse in the last 10 years. So I'm not necessarily saying that Obama's all for was the problem, but I don't think he did what he could have done to try to eliminate the race card and that type of stuff. Just my opinion. But anyway, enough of that. Let's see what we say here. Keep it calm. Yep. Cussing. I didn't see anybody cuss. Yeah, you got that right. I want there to be laughter and comedy, political comedy. I want to be able to have guys like Richard Pryor and George Carlin and Eddie Murphy and a lot of those comedians that used to just be Dennis Miller back in the day, where you could say whatever you wanted to about either party, about different races, about different sexes, and people just laughed. As far as I remember, back in my 20s and 30s, we just laughed about that stuff. And I think too many people get offended about everything, and not just talking about not being able to have comedy situations and just be able to make light and make fun of the nasty world that we know it in many ways. I think that would be helpful, but you can't really do that anymore. As soon as you say something and you're not in the right group with the media, you will get lambasted and potentially lose everything. And unfortunately, Papa Drew, I'm not sure if it's thin skin or people's fear of losing everything, because there are consequences sometimes to speaking your mind and saying the right thing. But my opinion is, if you don't like it here, there's a lot of places to go, and I'm true to that because I was ready to leave. I was ready to leave during the last 10 or 12 years, not because of the racial issues or anything of that, just because of the escalating healthcare. I think there's some other countries that are doing some good things healthcare wise. I've traveled to them. I've worked in those countries. I'm not, just taking what the media says, but I've actually been in some of the countries that have some pretty good healthcare systems that I don't have to have the fear that I might have here of not having healthcare. And, the government's like, well, let's just get rid of anybody that's over 75. We're not going to take care of them anymore because, they cost too much. So anyway, yep. Well, that's fine, Papa Drew. And I just think there's a lot of people that do care about losing it, right? And I totally agree. I try to. On some of my other pages, I rarely post anything political, but I will post positive things. I will post statements against violence. And it seems like anytime that I post a statement against violence, it could say nothing about the actual issue. And somebody jumps on there and starts going, well, you have to be violent sometime to get this to pass, or women wouldn't be able to vote unless they were violent, or unless they protested, then slavery would still exist. And all I said was, I'm against all violence. And so that to me is part of the problem, is we're jumping on these issues too heavily and trying to change people's opinions if we disagree with them. And as you say, we shouldn't let them do that, Papa Drew. We should just, delete their post, whatever we're going to do, move on, block them if it's social media. And then in my life, I try to surround myself with people that not are the same mindset as me, but are a little bit more chill and can talk about topics without getting so angry with each other, so that you're going to want to pull a gun and kill somebody because they're wearing a certain hat, or you're going to be completely rude and disrespectful to somebody and say you can't be around them just because of an opinion they have. I believe that it would be a lot nicer if we could just appreciate that the other person has an opinion and they're going to exercise their vote. And our democracy is supposed to mean that if we have more people that want something versus somebody that doesn't want something, it prevails. And hopefully it's not offensive or hurtful to somebody. And it's more of the things that we need in the country that help us have a better lifestyle. My general opinion on just about everything, government wise, is I don't really look for the government to keep me safe and to protect me. Um, I look at the government to do infrastructure, roads, and things like that. I look at the government to also have a judicial system, of course, and make sure that people have a thriving economy. Some of those things, but really, I think too many times we look for the government to get in and try to fix every single thing, and I just don't think it works. I mean, they get involved, and there's more bureaucracy, and nothing usually gets better. But anyway, I didn't mean this to turn to that. It was a speed test. And here in Union, Missouri, your internet speed is very good across all three providers. So guys, be kind, be loving. Don't let people sway your opinions, but also don't come to blows with people. Just distance yourself, walk away, turn the other cheek. That type of approach to things. It's sense when issues are going to get somebody upset and offended, and just don't talk about those issues. Talk about something else. There's plenty of other things to talk about. Well, Papa Drew, thanks for popping in. And you be you, I'll be me, and they be they. Have a great night, guys.